There's been a big breakup with Donald Trump and Elon Musk, and now his new boyfriend is stepping up to the plate, and this is an evil MFer named Peter Thiel, who owns Palantir. Put up the headline. Trump taps Palantir to create master database on every American. This is utter insanity. It is dangerous and it is evil. But in order for you to understand how wicked and diabolical Peter Thiel is, I want you to watch every second of this clip from Now This Is Impact about Peter Thiel. It's only 1:20, but it's super duper important that you have this background as to what's heading to the United States of America and your privacy.
Was building a database to spy on every single American, and he tapped Palantir to do it, a CIA-funded tech company co-founded by tech billionaire and Republican donor Peter Thiel. In 2010, Thiel shared his real motivations out loud.
We could never win an election because we were in such a small minority that maybe you could actually unilaterally change the world without having to constantly convince people and beg people and plead with people who are never going to agree with you through a technological means.
Thiel knows his ideology could never win an election because he's skeptical of democracy, believes women shouldn't vote, wrote a book criticizing multiculturalism and diversity, and has defended. What he's arguing is that technology can bypass the need for majority support. That tech is Palantir. The perfect opportunity for Thiel to enact his plan came when Trump enlisted Palantir to build the most expansive surveillance infrastructure in US history. It would integrate sensitive records from all government agencies and use AI to profile behavior and identify individuals deemed risky by the system, giving the government more power than ever. The Trump admin claims more data could help them improve public safety and detect fraud, but we all know that's not what would happen. Former Palantir employees have warned that a centralized system like that could be used to surveil, target, and silence anyone the government disagrees with. It could also be used to influence public opinion. Remember Cambridge Analytica, the company that used data to build psychological profiles on Americans so they could manipulate their voting behavior during the 2016 election? Yeah, it would be like that, but on an even bigger scale. Even MAGA feels betrayed by this move. Nick Fuentes, a far-right Trump supporter, said, seriously, if Palantir isn't the deep state, then what is? We have to come together to stop this drastic expansion of government control and power.
All right, there you have it. That's how they are going to leapfrog over democracy and elections. Peter Thiel, interestingly, is a gay man. And as somebody who lives in the buckle of the Bible Belt, am always somewhat perplexed when somebody like Peter Thiel, who's in a minority, in a marginalized group, betrays his own group and the civil rights of his own group to kiss ass to the religious right. And this is a really interesting dichotomy here. You have the religious right marrying itself with probably non-religious oligarchs. And at some point, there's going to be a face-to-face on that. But Peter Thiel says he doesn't like democracy because he doesn't want to convince people that his ideas are good. Well, I wonder why it would take so long to convince them. Because they're a bad idea. But here's what's so important is she said in the video, this is to give government more power. But what Trump is doing right now is he is replacing where government had power with individuals and with corporations. He's fired inspectors general to oversee. He has completely obliterated transparency. So the most dangerous thing that I see here is we are replacing what government could do, and we are empowering an evil private corporation with all of our data to mine for people that might not agree with them.
Right. And they've also, the Trump administration has fired people that were in cybersecurity, corruption, all of those things, the oversight of these people. And it is no surprise that Peter Thiel is where J.D. Vance went to get yassified, because he had a relationship for years. And we are told, or it's been widely reported, that Peter Thiel's the one that picked J.D. Vance to be his running mate. Sorry.
No. I'm going to get to that. And so next up, what she spoke about in the video is we have a lot of MAGA is feeling very betrayed by this. So this MAGA civil war is really starting. You have some people that are taking Musk's side, some people that are taking Trump's side, and then some people are starting to realize that maybe Donald Trump is full of shit. Why it takes 10 years is beyond me, but this is just where we are in America. Put up the first one. Here's Fuentes. Doge was nothing but a Trojan horse for Palantir operatives to get Americans' data into their system. So remember that so many people that were working with Musk and the Doge bros were saying they are literally getting data and downloading it onto other drives and then leaving the agency. So that's a problem. Next up, here's another one with Fuentes, and this is what Pumps was saying. Never forget that J.D. Vance owes his entire existence to Palantir co-founder Peter Thiel. And that is why every Thiel-funded shill on this site is constantly glazing him and astroturfing support for a presidential run in 2020. And here's something that I think we need to discuss. I have never quite seen in my life a political movement that always makes people worse.
Right.
Like everybody that enters Trump's orbit, at first, before they succumb to it, there's a little bit of clarity. Like even Nick Fuentes is a total piece of shit. But at some point, he's going to either go all the way over with them or not. But if you look at Marco Rubio, at some point had clarity. Was he a right-wing dick? 100%. But now, if it's possible for him to be a worse person, he is. The same with Ted Cruz. Just when you think he can't get any worse, he completely cannot have conviction about defending his wife. He throws his wife under the bus, which is the mother of his children, and I could go on and on. J.D. Vance was somewhat of a, he tried to play both sides. He wanted to be a fiscal conservative, but somewhat a cool Republican if he could. Well, he goes off to J.D. Vance's Silicon Valley company and comes out a total sociopath. Everything and all of the people that, even if I take it to a personal level, the people that I know personally that are involved with MAGA that have triple trumped have become worse human beings. And I think there's just no conviction. There's no conviction in these people. None. They just follow the power and they follow the money. And so not everybody in this movement is going to do that. A lot of the cultists are going to, but we're going to start watching the complete breakdown of this movement.
What is so interesting about what you're saying about this dichotomy between the right-wing Christians and the right-wing or the oligarchies of Peter Thiel, they all worship money, but every single one of them has shown themselves to be white supremacist, full stop, misogynistic. I mean, Peter Thiel doesn't think women should vote. Republican MAGA doesn't think women should have the right to control their own bodies. They do not like poor people, and they want the rich to make all the decisions and the poor people just to follow. And it's just interesting that the big Jesus followers go completely hard in the paint for capitalism and not people. It shows their hypocrisy.
But when you think about it ideologically, those two things are perfectly aligned. Christianity, very patriarchal.
Yes.
Women are to submit to their husbands. And so when you live in a Bible culture like we've had to, the most religious people I know are the biggest pieces of shit with zero conviction. The louder they are about their faith, I know for sure that there is just right behind that friendly veneer is just layers and layers and layers of judgment and hate. And people who live around evangelicals witness that. You have people who in this state are real friendly to somebody that's gay and then immediately goes and votes against everything that person could have. And in private prayer groups talks about how that's just this horrible, horrific sin. And so the common link between these two is no conviction, none. And you can say whatever you want to about the far left, but the far left has conviction. There is conviction. I will never abandon the LGBTQIA plus community, ever. I will always value human beings over corporations. Always. And you can go on and on and on down the list. But on the right, they're like tofu. The religious right, even more like tofu. I mean, just morally bankrupt with zero conviction. And in this moment, this is such a historical moment that we are living in that we're reporting on every day. Crystal clear clarity and conviction is the only way to combat this. And so when you see people bend, like I use Cory Booker as an example all the time, it lacks clarity in this moment. It shows that maybe you're compromised. It shows, Cory, that maybe you're okay with some parts of it, but not all parts of it. So every tweet and everything that he's put out since then is kind of tainted for me. And Bill Maher would say, oh, the left wants purity. And it's not purity that I want. I want clarity. Do you have conviction or do you not? That's what I want to know. Just a very simple thing. And it always seems to me that people who are in these MAGA circles and in these evangelical Christian nationalist circles have zero conviction. At any given moment, they will pick up a marginalized group and throw them under the bus if it's easier for their life. That's just has always been my experience with these people. And in this moment, it takes conviction. And that's why the Jasmine Crockett's, the AOCs, et cetera, Bernie Sanders, they have ironclad conviction. And that's why they go more viral than all of this other pussyfooting around on both sides, because it's just gross. It's inauthentic and gross. And I think everybody's past that now.
Well, and people want fighters. They want people to stand up against this regime.
Conviction.
And they're not doing it. They're mealy-mouthing, writing letters, going to respond when they are ready.
And then I'm going to leave you all with one final thing. I think this is really interesting because Trump is all about America. We're going to bring all these jobs back to America, America first, rah, rah, sis, boom, bah. Here's the Wall Street Journal owned by Rupert Murdoch. Here's what they have to say about that. President Trump pledged to bring business back to the U.S. His own company has been doing more business overseas than ever before. This is from the Wall Street Journal. So, MAGA, you're being propagandized at an incredible rate, and you have agency over how you get your news and where you get your news. And that's why I want you all to know that every single morning when we prepare episodes, Pumps and I go to ground news. Here's an example. The left covers this whole Elon thing. Elon Musk allows himself to trample on Donald Trump's beautiful and grand law budget considered too expensive. The right reports it as Musk blasts Trump mega bill days after farewell. And then you can go to this page where it shows you the bias distribution, the fact distribution of it. And basically, it is a way that you can see how you ask yourself, how are people still supporting Trump? Well, you can get on ground news and you can just see right-wing headlines and you're like, oh, now I get it. Now I see the spin.
Well, and when I get on ground news and they're saying that regarding this bill, Fox News is talking about Biden's auto pen and everyone else is talking about the problems with the bill and Elon Musk's criticism of it.
So listener, join us by going to groundnews.com/IHIP to get 40% off Ground News Vantage Plan that we use every day. They're subscriber funded and female founded. By subscribing, you're not only getting a tool we all need today, you're also supporting our work here at IHIP News. That's ground, GROUND news.com/IHIP, IHIP. We have tagged this right below, pinned it in the comment section. Click it. It averages out to be about $5 a month. It's so important. I know you all want to hide from the news. We can't. We have to stay engaged. We have to have conviction. And then now I want to go to more MAGA going after Trump. Kylie, put up tweet number 5, MAGA twin influencers. First of all, they're called the Hoge twins, and these are big time MAGA influencers. Republicans are all paid off liars that don't give a damn about the people that voted for them. Never again. And this is in the epicenter of the MAGA Twitter sphere. What do you think about that?
Well, I think that it's been a long time coming. And if these people are actually observing what he's doing and not just watching Fox News, they're going to have to reach this at some point. Do I think that at some point they're going to jump back on the train? Probably. But it just, he fucks over the people that he is alleged to have cared about. But I'm like, dude, he's a billionaire that inherited money. And you think he cares when you get $10 an hour. Grow up.
Okay. And then here's another MAGA meltdown. This is the Patriot voice. Okay. And this is deep and dark Twitter. People are so quick to suggest that I flipped on Trump. No. I didn't flip on Trump. Trump flipped on us. I'm just not willing to continue living a lie. And I will tell you the unfortunate truth about it. Again, I'm mystified that it takes 10 years to get there, but nonetheless, welcome.
Right.
Welcome to the resistance, because Donald Trump is having this country commit suicide. And you're either on that side of it or you're on the side where every single American has the same rights. Everybody. We don't leave anybody to the side. And that's the problem with America. There's always cherry picking. Well, this doesn't affect me, so I don't care about that. Well, this benefits me, so I care about that. It's all about individualism. And until we adopt a moral code of collectivism, of not leaving anybody behind, making sure people are paid livable, respectable wages, which is what Bernie Sanders has campaigned on his entire life. And he's been branded a radical leftist for that by the left and the right. And imagine that. Imagine how morally bankrupt the United States of America is, that the politician that looks in the camera for many, many, many decades and says it is dehumanizing to not pay people a livable wage, that work 40 hours a week, that they can't afford to pay the rent, and that they can file bankruptcy due to medical bills. And he has been branded a radical. That's crazy.
Well, it's crazy. And you're right. It's been by the right and the left.
Yes.
And what I have to go back to this one point, and I know I beat it into the ground. But Mike Johnson, who is the biggest hypocrite on planet Earth, thinks he's Moses. Now he's got Trump, who he just lays his lips on his ass, supporting Elon Musk, who has 50,000 baby mamas, Peter Thiel, who's gay, the mental gymnastics, talking about no conviction. Look at the lack of conviction from somebody that thinks he's the biggest Jesus guy in the world, that he will not come out for poor people, and that he is willing to sacrifice everything for Elon Musk and Peter Thiel.
But I just want to say that's a great national example. But on a personal level,
every day,
the people that are the loudest or connected to the evangelical culture in my personal life have the least conviction of anybody I know. The people who have the most conviction are the Black women in my life, the gay people in my life. Unfortunately, for a lot of the gay people in my life, their parents don't fully support them and they have no conviction. And that's why I think you and I have become so popular with the LGBTQ plus community, because I have ironclad fucking conviction. I will not move the goalpost for these people. I will not. You know, and this is, you and I kind of disagree a little bit about this, but my son wanted to go to a school and I was going to have to sign some document where I did not agree with gay marriage and that all this gender identity stuff. And I wouldn't sign it. I wouldn't sign it. I told my son he couldn't go to that school. It was just something that I will not do. I will not be a part of the quiet bigotry towards the LGBTQ plus community, because it's dangerous and it harms them. And I can't do stuff like that and then sit here and not feel that. I can't sit here and not feel the hypocrisy. And too many Americans are able to be duplicitous about the LGBTQ plus issue. And I just think when it comes to human rights, you have to be black and white. A lot of life is gray. But when it comes to human rights and equality for everybody, we have to be unrelenting and have ironclad conviction about it. Otherwise, people get hurt, people get killed, people get left behind. And I'm not a Christian, I'm an atheist, but I have a moral calling. I feel it in my bones that that's the right thing for human beings to do, is to find the most marginalized and help lift them up.
I agree with you. You're absolutely right. And this is, when you see what's going on with Trump's government and how everything that represents Black people, women, LGBTQIA+ is going by the wayside, we all have to band together, because the only people in Trump's administration and the oligarchy that deserve anything in their minds are rich men. Full stop.
I agree. I completely agree. But we'll just have to keep hammering at this, because I feel like we are already living in an authoritarian state.
Yeah.
The Abrego Garcia 9-0 decision. Nobody's done anything about that.
Still not back.
And so I think that we are already in an authoritarian state. And I think it's going to take really loud, crystal clear voices, clarity and conviction moving forward. All right, that's all we have. It's an extended jumbo release episode for IHIP News today. Order our book, and we'll see you all later.